Our lawyers, car audiophiles.
Don't generalize based on me. My name is Matt with Roadstage Audio, working with a couple people to make true hi-fi experience for electrical vehicles, starting with the Tesla Model 3. The goal with this is to get a real hi-fi experience out to people in their Tesla Model 3s. And if things from there work out, expand to Tesla's other cars and other electric vehicles. One of the main things is the frunk. We're replicating the actual frunk plastic unit that goes into the car, and it's going to be a drop-in replacement that provides good airflow. It's going to be set up like a computer pretty much. Pretty big hole for all of the wiring that's involved in this. The equipment rack is built into the frunk unit with all the equipment. It'll come pre-tuned. We're going to replicate that with our amplifiers, our processors, speakers, and most importantly, our speaker enclosures. We're going to have real hi-fi quality speaker enclosures with the same amount of airspace or internal volume that you would have on an in-home speaker cabinet, but they're going to be strange shapes to fit underneath the car's paneling. We also have a custom vehicle-specific cutout for all of our own sound treatment specifically for this car.
All right, so it's pretty quiet in here. So we're rolling around right now.
I think the kit's one of the biggest advantages, other than the sound, is just, it's so peaceful in here, it's nice. So this thing, in terms of speaker locations, has 16 independent channels that are all timeline and EQ'd. There's 10 in the front stage, 4 in the back, and then 2 separate subwoofer channels. The bigger lower one we're calling the lower octave because it handles primarily the lower octave, 40 hertz and down. The subwoofer right above that goes down to about 40 hertz. Everything else is handled by the rest of the speakers. What we saw just now is totally temporary. It's just because I like this particular bass setup, and it's not going to go what's going to go in the thing. But in my personal car, I have a 3,000 watt RMS Rockford Fosgate amp and customized Sundown Nightshade version 4 with carbon fiber on it and a custom ordered spider. So I'm stoked about that. It's running on 2 passive radiators. It's tuned really low, a little bit below 20 hertz, 19, something like that. So that's fun for me. The results will be good for other people, just as good when we get the final product out. This is for play and prototype.
Magnetic. That's cool. Here he goes. Hooligan mode. Test 2. That's a 10? That'll break your finger. You're rattling that thing up there. Yeah, there it is. You know what's crazy is when you close all the windows, very little sound gets out.
Yeah, it's really sound.
Wow.
What is this?
Yeah, it's that. All right, so I'm gonna get to sit in the sweet spot here. So it is tuned for this location here, huh?
Yeah.
I'm about to listen to this thing, see how it goes.
The games you played.
I noticed something. I noticed you're implementing a lot of the stuff that's going on back here too. It's incorporated with the front stage.
It is. It's actually playing around with the phase integration. It allows you to actually do like what you do when you throw your voice.
Yeah.
So the holographic image that you would get actually grows. It totally accentuates it. Like back speakers can throw it on there.
Right. One quick thing is that when I was tuning my system, I had to think about where I wanted the center imaging. Right? Did I want it to be the center for me in my location, or did I want it to be the center of the vehicle? What was your approach to that?
Yeah, that's actually a good question because I went back and forth and had feedback from a few different people. The guy I know who's most into audio, my friend David, you know, $100,000 plus system in his place and it's crazy. He had very different thought than some other people that I know. So his thing was he likes to have the feeling of center be in front of him, which entails being over the steering wheel. And he said that when it's off to the actual center, it gives you a kind of a disconcerting feeling, like you're off to the left of the stage and you need to like turn, but your body can't turn because your seat is making your body face forward, and you end up with a slightly turned head. And I could see that, but the trade-off on that is it just completely squishes the left stage, and you have your entire left and your center converging, and so it's not really anything that you could separate out in terms of the sound. So I made a compromise here to where the center is actually just left of center. So when you get the effect right, it feels like it's way right.
Got it.
So I'd say if you looked at the dash, it's probably 2.5 inches off of center. And I could give you a demo. So what's really cool about this setup is we're bypassing the electronics here and going over to something that's really high end through our phone. The advantage of that is that we're getting the highest quality signal that you can get without having to buy an expensive high-res player. Our source unit up in the front is actually doing the work probably better than what a several $1,000 high-res player would do. It means you don't have to buy anything extra. You have your phone. It saves you a couple $1,000. And you press play. Then you have access, because we're able to integrate this through Bluetooth to change the tune on the screen. You can press the left wheel on the steering wheel there and slide that left or right, click it left or right. And you'll notice that that's the standard functionality that's there.
So it retains the functionality.
It retains the functionality by having the commands go over Bluetooth, but the audio signal go over USB. So I think that's pretty cool. The other option that people usually do is to have a high-res player, which doesn't maintain that, and it costs several $1,000s. The other major upside of having your phone, other than having it converted to a high-quality hi-fi source, is that you have all the functionality your phone brings. You could play Tidal or Qobuz or your local files, and you're going to have confidence that the same quality that you'd expect in your home audio is literally exactly what you're getting here.
What kind of system do you have in your home?
Mine's not nearly as nice as this. So I have Martin Logan speakers, and I have an integrated Marantz.
Okay.
So my electronics in the home aren't nearly as good as what I have in the car.
It's funny because in the last video I was just saying our car audio guys, audiophiles, you know?
Yeah, I definitely think that conceptually it's a distinction without a difference. That's different than how it plays out in the actual world. People can hold on to one identity as a car guy or one identity as a home audio guy, but there's nothing stopping a home audiophile from maximizing what he can do in the car, and there's nothing stopping anybody who really loves car audio from getting the very best that's available in the home.
And you definitely did that with this system.
Yeah,
from what I've seen so far and what I've heard, and I can tell that you put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah, it's been fun. Hopefully I can get this out to other people. I think it's good enough to, I just want other people to have it.
Yeah.
Just to experience it, because it's really an experience.
Well, I want to hear some more music. So.
Yeah, let's do it. Fun little song.
All right. So if you're not noticing a huge reaction from me, it's because your system is so complex as far as what you've done with the sound, right? So it would be easy if you just had a ton of bass. I'd just be like, whoa, that's a ton of bass. Or if the highs were exaggerated and oh, it sounds super clear, I can, But what I'm noticing in your vehicle is, stuff that's hard to get. Soundstage, right? The imaging. Those are all things that are very tough to get.
That's
and it's almost,
Thank you. Yeah.
it's almost like discombobulating, because you don't expect to hear that inside of a cabin. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not used to hearing that in here, so I kind of have to my brain's kind of recalibrating itself to oh, he's messed with it, so it doesn't sound like you're necessarily confined to this space.
Right.
And it's a little bit weird because if I have my eyes open,
it does play tricks on you. I tune the thing and I find myself doing that sometimes. I'm like, what the heck just happened? Sounds will sometimes sound like they're coming from a couple feet, maybe a foot or so outside of the car. A voice will sound like it's floating a foot or so in front of the windshield, even though it's physically impossible. So yeah, I'm glad that this is like a proof of concept that you can really get something that's an experience in your car.
And the car sounds awesome. I gotta say, I've been playing some of my test tracks and I'm just so impressed, and I'm sure it's just so much fun to tweak the system, adjusting things.
Drives you crazy, but it is rewarding.
Can you do a lot of that on your phone?
Yeah, I actually can do it on the phone. The interface is pretty small, so I use an iPad.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Very cool. So we've been listening to some test tracks that I've had, but I want to hear some like Hooligan stuff.
All right.
Can you get down with that?
Yeah, maybe some Gucci Mane.
Okay, let me hear some hooliganism for Jay.
Okay, this starts out with a pretty strong bass note, so.
Gucci man, Gucci man, Gucci man. That wizard, that wizard. I think he trying to smoke.
Hey, that's badass.
Thanks, man.
Jay would love that, and I'll tell you why. Because you can go from audiophile, mess with a few settings here, and then immediately make it so if you want to be silly, you can do it.
Yeah, you
it's
can
up
get
to you.
stupid with this bass. We just shook the whole headliner down.
That's freaking cool.
Right after some Frank Sinatra.
Yeah. That's free. Hey, thank you so much for showing me your system.
Yeah, I'm glad
I appreciate it.
Came to look at
and
it.
I'll leave a link in the description. Yeah, that's basically it.
For audiophile Tesla owners.
There you go. There you go. More hooliganism. We're only gonna go. We're just accelerating at a normal pace.
Ready?
Mm-hmm. I like that. All right, I want one. Let's check this out. I think he's racing in this.